There's something strange about the people who almost never post photos online. You know the type. No endless selfies, no vacation countdowns, no carefully edited relationship pictures. Sometimes weeks pass and you forget they even have social media at all. And yet, when you meet them in real life, they often feel calmer, more grounded, more present, almost like they're living somewhere outside the noise everyone else got trapped inside. Most people assume these quiet individuals are hiding something. But what if the truth is the exact opposite? What if people who rarely post photos often share a psychological trait that's becoming incredibly rare in the modern world? We live in a culture built entirely around visibility. Every experience now comes with an invisible question hanging over it. Should I post this? Dinner becomes content, relationships become announcements, vacations become proof. Even happiness starts feeling incomplete until someone else sees it. Somewhere along the way, documenting life slowly replaced fully experiencing it. And the strange part is most people don't even notice it happening. The pressure is subtle. You go somewhere beautiful, and before your brain fully absorbs the moment, your hand reaches for your phone, not because you're shallow, but because modern culture quietly trained all of us to connect visibility with value. In media psychology, this is known as the panopticon effect, living life like a perpetual performance for an invisible audience. But some people resist that instinct almost naturally, not loudly, not rebelliously, just quietly. Before we dissect the fascinating brain chemistry behind this silence, which side do you live on? Drop in 88 inches the comments right now if you are someone who rarely posts and prefers remaining digitally silent, or type 99 if you love sharing your daily moments and photos online. Let's see how many offline minds we have in our community today. The psychology behind that digital silence reveals something deeper than most people realize: the difference between private and invisible. People often confuse privacy with insecurity. If someone rarely posts their relationship, people assume the relationship must be failing. If someone travels without uploading pictures, people assume the trip wasn't exciting enough. If someone achieves something important and stays quiet about it, people wonder if it even happened. It's fascinating when you think about it. Modern culture has become so hyper-public that privacy now looks suspicious, but being private and being invisible are completely different things. Invisible people usually feel unseen by the world and suffer. Private people choose not to hand every moment over to it. That's a huge psychological difference. Some people don't post because they're unhappy, but others don't post because the moment already felt complete without outside confirmation. That distinction changes everything. Genuinely peaceful couples disappear a little, not because they're hiding, but because they stop performing the relationship and start living inside it. The same thing happens with success. Some people achieve something meaningful and instantly feel the urge to announce it. Others sit quietly with the feeling first. They let the moment belong to them before giving pieces of it away. And honestly, that ability is becoming rare because most people today were taught to experience life through an audience. Social media runs on a biological system of intermittent variable rewards. You post something, people react. Your brain receives a tiny hit of dopamine, the exact same chemical loop triggered by slot machines in a casino. And for a brief second, your nervous system interprets that digital attention as emotional significance. The scary part of the dopamine loop is how fast the brain adapts to it. Over time, approval stops feeling exciting and starts feeling absolutely necessary. You begin checking reactions before you even process your own authentic emotions. Sometimes people don't realize how much external validation shapes their identity until the attention completely disappears. That's why silence online can feel emotionally uncomfortable for some individuals, because without reactions from other people, they're suddenly left entirely alone with themselves. And that's harder than it sounds. One of the most emotionally revealing moments in modern life is watching someone enjoy and experience less once they realize nobody saw it. That observation feels uncomfortable because it's true. Sometimes the photo becomes more important than the memory itself. The brain adapts to applause very quickly. But dependence on applause changes something deeper. Eventually, some people stop asking, "Am I happy?" and start asking, "Does my life look happy?" Those are not the same question. Not even close. Let's address this uncomfortable loop honestly. Have you ever caught yourself losing interest in a beautiful moment just because you couldn't take a good picture to show online? If you have felt that toxic dependency on digital applause before, drop an 88 below. If you genuinely feel satisfied without needing anyone to see your joy, leave a 99. Let's be vulnerable in the replies, because acknowledging the performance is how we break free from it. Underneath quiet online behavior, there's often a trait psychologists call emotional self-sufficiency. Secure people can experience joy without immediately needing witnesses. Love feels more intimate when it isn't constantly exposed. Success feels more meaningful when it stays connected to personal fulfillment instead of public reaction. But there is a hard neurological cost to oversharing that science has recently uncovered. Cognitive psychologists have documented a phenomenon known as the photo-taking impairment effect. Studies show that when individuals take photos of objects or events, their brains actually remember fewer details about the experience itself compared to those who simply observe with their eyes. Why? Because by clicking the shutter, you are unconsciously telling your brain to outsource the memory to the smartphone. Your brain stops encoding the sensory data deeply because it assumes the camera is taking care of it. You end up owning the digital file, but losing the biological memory. Furthermore, clinical psychology identifies a secondary danger called spectatoring a split, where your consciousness divides into two. Part of you is living the moment, but the other part is a spectator, evaluating yourself from the perspective of an outsider. That's subtle, but psychologically it matters immensely. Sometimes oversharing weakens presence because part of your attention leaves the current moment and moves toward imagined reactions. How will people respond? What will they think? Which photo should I use? And suddenly the experience splits in half. Part of you is living, part of you is performing, but private moments stay whole. And people who protect those moments often develop a deeper relationship with themselves over time, a quieter identity, one built more from internal experience than external reaction. Human beings naturally try to explain what they cannot fully read. That's where psychological projection begins. When someone shares everything online, people feel like they understand them. But quiet people leave empty spaces, and the human mind hates empty spaces. So it blindly fills them. She must be lonely. He's probably insecure. They must not have friends. Projection usually reveals more about the observer than the quiet person, because silence acts like a mirror. People who feel anxious without attention often struggle to understand individuals who don't seem to need it at all. That difference creates discomfort, especially in a culture where oversharing became normal. Today, people announce breakups while still crying. They post emotional pain before they've even understood it themselves. Moments chapters barely have time to become memories before they become content. So when someone remains private, it disrupts the rhythm everyone else unconsciously follows. Some moments lose emotional depth the second they become public. A quiet conversation at midnight, a vulnerable apology, the first time someone says, "I love you." A personal breakthrough nobody else understands yet. These experiences often feel powerful because they exist untouched, protected from outside interpretation. Private moments have a strange emotional purity to them. They're allowed to exist without becoming entertainment. And maybe that's why some people instinctively protect parts of their lives, not out of fear, but out of emotional preservation. Of course, none of this means posting photos is wrong. Human beings naturally want connection. Sharing joy is part of being alive. Sometimes a photo is simply a memory. Sometimes it's art. Sometimes it's love reaching outward. But there's still something deeply fascinating about people who don't feel emotionally required to broadcast every meaningful thing they experience. Because in a world constantly asking to see your life, choosing to keep parts of it sacred has become unusual, maybe even powerful. And maybe the real question isn't whether someone posts photos or not. Maybe the deeper question is this: can you still fully enjoy your life when nobody else is looking at it? Because the people who can usually carry a kind of quiet peace, the internet still doesn't understand. And sometimes the most emotionally complete moments in a person's life are the ones the world never sees. To close out our deep dive today, do you now view online silence as a sign of high emotional security, type 88? Or do you think it is just social detachment, type 99? Let me know your answer in the comments and read a few others while you're there, because somewhere in those replies is proof that you were never as alone as your mind told you. If this video gave words to something you felt for years, hit that like button and consider subscribing. We'll keep exploring the quiet truths of the human mind together, one thought at a time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.